in a world where towering monsters shatter the walls of peace and devour hope in a single breath. This is the moment humanity was forced to remember they are no longer safe. This is the beginning of the fall. The story begins with a scene of two birds flying through the sky. Their flight leaves behind a soft hum across the calm blue above. As they glide, a man's eyes appear, watching them closely, trying to find meaning in their movement. Then the scene shifts. Several people are seen standing in one place, some deep in thought, while others remain alert. Suddenly, a dog begins barking loudly, as if warning something unseen drawing near. The birds continue to soar, but now their flight feels strange, almost unnatural. Then from behind a large wall, a massive hand appears, resting against the surface. The hand is not ordinary, it is enormous and terrifying. Everyone stares at it in silent shock, unable to look away. And from here the dialogues of the story begin. Humanity was suddenly reminded that day of the terror of being at their mercy, of the humiliation of being trapped inside a cage. And now the frame settles on the towering figure standing near the massive wall, its form too vast to be fully understood. It looms in silence, as if watching the village or city that lies beyond. A place sealed off from the world, surrounded on all sides by enormous walls, not just for protection, but as if held captive within. Then with a jolt, the camera shakes violently, cutting to a chaotic scene. A flood of riders charge forward on horseback, their cloaks drenched in the relentless downpour. Rain lashes against steel and leather, the sky rumbling above them. The thunder of hooves drowns the storm, and in the middle of it all, one of them shouts out, "All soldiers, prepare for battle. We have one target. We will slay it and claim this spot as humanity's first stronghold, beyond the walls." Then one of them says, "Target approaching." Deep within the heart of the forest, a towering man moves slowly through the trees, his body bear his presence, almost unreal. This is the one they've all come to hunt. From the group, one man raises his hand, signaling the others with a sharp gesture. And then he says, "Split into 5 groups, just as we practiced. We'll act as the bait. All assault squads, switch to omnidirectional gear." With these words, everyone poised, their weapons ready to strike. A trigger was pulled and an arrow shot forth, a chain, or rather a rope trailing behind it. The projectile found its mark, lodging firmly in a distant tree. The intricate mechanism of the weapon became clear to the audience, a marvel of engineering. The camera pulled back, revealing horses below, now riderless. The men who had been atop them were soaring through the air, propelled by the ropes attached to their arrows. One by one, each man launched himself, the last one following suit. They moved from tree to tree, a graceful aerial ballet. Below, the behemoth advanced steadily, unhurried. The airborne figures converged upon him, their intentions clear. From the group, a voice cut through the air, a declaration echoing through the silent forest. "It's time to show him what we are truly made of. Strike from all directions at once." Then he jumps from his spot, emerging from one place to another, gliding in the air, and then jumped behind the giant man and before just striking him on neck. He says, "Taste the power of humanity." And with this, he just was about to strike him, and with the voice the camera cuts. Then from here, the accused one begins. Title: To You in 2000 Years, The Fall of Shiganshina Part 1. On the screen, many flowers are swaying gently with the breeze. The fragrance and colors of the flowers bring a sense of calm, yet there is also a hint of fear. Along with the gentle movement of the flowers, a memory comes back to the boy. But this memory is terrifying, the kind that has troubled him before. The frightening memory enters his mind, like a scary image appearing before his eyes. The boy becomes restless and, all of a sudden, feels himself waking up with a jolt. After waking, he opens his eyes and sees a girl sitting in front of him, looking at him. There is a calmness in the girl's gaze, but the boy is still disturbed by his frightening memory. Then the guy says, "Huh? Mikasa, we should be getting back. What are we doing here? You were that deep asleep." That you're still only half awake? No, it just feels like I had this really long dream or something. What was it about? I can't remember. And the camera shifts towards the girl, and she carries a bunch of sticks on her back and moves towards the Eren and says, Eren, why you crying? Eren didn't look understood. He put his finger near to eye. Huh? And the Sira shift to flowers. And then on screen, written 845 Shiganshina district. And the giant cannon apparatus on the screen in the front of the district on the top of the wall. And many men are trying to climb the wall. And then the scene from inside the district, someone speaks. Listen, it was by God's great wisdom that the walls were built. The walls are His divine work. No one must be allowed to defile the walls. Simultaneously, we get all the angels of the district how it is, and the walls are protecting the insider from someone. And then the Eric was talking to Mikasa, and they both are walking to reach somewhere. Don't you dare tell anyone I was crying. I won't. Still, crying for no real reason. You should have your dad give you a checkup. Don't be stupid. I can't tell him. Then the man came in a frame and says to both, What are you crying about, Eren? Mr. Hans, did Mikasa get on your case about something? Huh? What makes you think I was crying? Whoa, you reek of alcohol. It's like, come on, wino? Oh, you're drinking again. You guys wanna join in? Actually, oh, don't you have work? Yup, we're guarding the gate today. We're stuck here all day. So we end up getting hungry and thirsty. If some booze happens to get into our drinks. So what? It's no big deal. What if something happens? Can you fight like that? What do you mean, if something happens? You know what I mean. I'm talking about if they break the walls and get into the city. OWW. Geez, Eren. Don't go yelling like that. You've got spunk, doctor's son. If they do bust down the walls, we'll take care of business, don't you worry. But that ain't happened once. In the last 100 years. Still, my dad says there's nothing more dangerous than being complacent like that. Dr. Yeager, huh? Yeah, he's got a point. He once saved this town from an epidemic. I can't argue with him. Still, there's another story altogether. When you're a soldier, you get to see those things roaming around outside while you're on wall reinforcement duty and stuff. These walls are 50 meters tall. Though, I can't see them getting through. Then, you're not actually prepared to fight them at all? Nope. WH what? Then drop the garrison regiment name for wall construction squad instead. Not a bad idea. But you gotta understand, Eren. If a soldier's doing his job, things have seriously gone to hell. It's better when everyone's calling us useless freeloaders. It means peaceful times for us all. Sure, we can stay inside the walls our entire lives and do nothing but eat and sleep. But that basically makes us cattle. Man, you're one plucky kid, all right, for someone who's totally helpless. Right, Hans? Huh? Why yeah. Then the Eren didn't pay attention to them and he starts to move ahead with Mikasa, and from behind the man says in loud voice, Hey, Eren, what a weirdo. Wait, don't tell me. He wants to join the scout regiment? Then the scene changes to the district and we can see the many buildings house, and then the Mikasa says to Eren, Eren, I'd forget about the scout regiment if I were you. What? You think the scout regiment is a joke too? It's not about what I think. While he was talking to Mikasa, the bell started to ring and the Eren says, The scout regiment is back. They're gonna open the front gate. Let's go see the heroes return, Mikasa. Then the Eren hold the hand of Mikasa and run to watch the soldiers, and when they reached there was crowd and the soldiers were in horse and few were walking, and Eren says, Oh, damn, I can't see. And then the both climb on cotton. And he was the disappointment in tear, as every soldier is injured. The realization of defeat is easily visible with looking down they are walking and peoples from crowd speaking to each other. They're the only ones who made it back. Everyone else must have gotten it in. This is what they get for going outside the walls. And a mother from Eth crowd came out of the crowd and says, Moses, Moses, excuse me, I don't see my son Moses anywhere. Do you know where he is? This is Moses' mother. She grabs the cloth of the soldier to ask in a hope. But the soldier says, Go get it. From behind, another soldier steps forward, his uniform stained and heavy with dust. In his trembling hands, he carries something wrapped in a blood-soaked cloth. He approaches the mother slowly, respectfully, silently. He doesn't speak, just holds it out to her. The mother hesitates. Her hands, shaky and pale, reach for the bundle. She clutches it close to her chest for a moment, afraid of what lies beneath. Finally, gathering the courage, she unwraps the cloth. A gasp escapes her lips. It's a hand bruised, torn, barely intact. Her son's left hand. Tears swell in her eyes. The soldier, voice low and filled with regret, says, It's all we could retrieve. Then the mother falls to her knees, clutching her son's severed hand to her chest, tears pouring down her face as grief takes over. A moment of silence hangs heavy in the air. Mikasa and Eren stand nearby frozen, watching everything unfold, their eyes filled with shock and sorrow. Then one of the soldiers from the group walks forward slowly and drops to his knees in front of them, offering comfort in the only way he can. But my son, he was helpful, yes, even if he didn't achieve direct greatness. Surely my son's death helped humanity fight back, yes? He wanted to speak, but the words never found their way out. What he truly felt remained hidden even from himself, caught in a whirl of hesitation and doubt. A strong wind sweeps through the silence, rustling uniforms and shaking the moment. Everyone stands still, their faces heavy, their thoughts unspoken. Then with all the strength he could gather, the soldier lifts his head, and with unwavering resolve he finally speaks. Then he says, Of course, no. On this latest scouting mission, no, just like all the other missions, we achieved nothing at all. My incompetence has done nothing but needlessly send soldiers to their deaths. We haven't found out anything about them. Talk about gruesome. Then the SCNE Chanage and the carts were leaving the frame, and everyone is watching them only. And then from the crowd someone says, You can say that again. Our taxes are basically going to feeding and fattening those things up now. As he continues speaking, or perhaps mocking them with his words, Eren steps forward, suddenly his face burning with rage. Without a second thought, he strikes the man hard on the head with a wooden stick. The sound echoes sharply through the air. The man cries out in pain, his voice loud and shaken as he yells, What the hell, you little punk? What cause of this a battle was about to begin? But before he could get beaten up, Mikasa pulled him out of the place. And then while pulling, the Eren says, Ache, what are you doing, Mikasa? And the man showed up and yells louder, Hey, get back here, you. Then the camera shifts and passes from the top of the building, and we can see that the Mikasa pulling Eren, and he's complaining about this. Mikasa, enough already. Then Mikasa grabs Eren with one hand and forcefully hurls him toward the wall. Eren crashes into it with a heavy thud, the wooden sticks strapped to his back scattering across the ground. The camera slowly shifts its focus, turning toward Mikasa. And from where he lies, Eren speaks. What's the big idea? Now the firewood's all over the place. Eren, have you changed your mind about joining the scout regiment? It's not that bad of a mess. Help pick this up. Then Mikasa comes closer to Eren and on knees to help him. Then the camera dissolves and change into another location where the Eren and Mikasa are running. And then they reach somewhere and open the D door and says, We are home. And get inside the home, and the lady says, Welcome back. Then Eren and Mikasa begin gathering the scattered wood, placing each piece carefully into a wooden box. The moment is quite simple yet heavy. And from behind them, their mother's voice calls out, Wow, Eren, you actually worked hard. Yeah, and pulls Eren by the ear. Eren winces and speaks out, "What do you want?" And in return, their mother replies, "Your ears red. That shows that you're lying. You had Mikasa help you, didn't you?" Then the camera shifts outside the home, and then Eren's voice is heard. "Oh, you're leaving, Dad?" While talking, Eren was eating the food quickly. "Is it for work?" "Yes. Some checkups in the interior. It'll take a couple of days." Then the camera shifts to the Mikasa and she says, Eren says he wants to join the scout regiment. Hearing this, everyone is taken aback, their expressions shifting to surprise. Eren turns to Mikasa and says, Mikasa, I told you not to say anything." Then Eren's mother walks straight up to him, holds him firmly and says, "Eren, what are you thinking? Do you have any idea how many people have died outside the walls?" "Why, yeah, I know." Then, "Eren, why do you want to go out there?" "I want to know what the outside world is like. I don't want to live my entire life in ignorance inside the walls. Plus, if no one else is willing to take their place, then the lives of all who have died will be for nothing. I see. My boat's about to leave. I better get going." "Hold on, dear. Talk some sense into Eren." "Carla, words can't hold back human curiosity." "Eren, when I get back, I'll show you the basement that I've kept secret all this time." "Ah, really?" Then Eren's father stands by the door speaking in a calm, steady voice. He holds up a key, showing it to Eren, his eyes filled with something unspoken. After a brief moment, he turns and walks away, disappearing into the distance. And Eren says, "Take care. Just forget it. Joining the scout regiment is a stupid idea." "Huh? Stupid? People who don't mind living like livestock are the stupid ones, if you ask me." And as the conversation between Eren and his mother continues, Eren suddenly turns and starts running away. His mother calls out his name, her voice echoing behind him. But Eren doesn't stop. He keeps going, disappearing from sight. Then she turns toward Mikasa, placing her hands gently on her shoulders and says, "Mikasa, he gets himself into trouble so easily. If anything ever happens, you need to be there for each other." Mikasa moves her head in agreeing motion. Then the camera changes to the another location. The sky is clean, and then a man's voice comes out, and the boy was forcibly pushed to the wall. "What's the matter, heretic? If you don't like it, let's see you hit back." "Why, yeah, right. That would be stooping to your level." "Say what? You know I'm right. That's why you have to resort to violence. Because you can't argue back. Which means you concede defeat to me, does it not? Shut up, smartass." Then from behind, Eren's voice rings out sharply as he shouts, "Stop that." The boys who were bullying turn to look and freeze for a moment. One of them stares and says, "That's Eren. That idiot's back for more. Does he want his ass kicked? We'll tear you a new one." Eren was running towards them, and they made the decision to beat him as well. But then the Mikasa came in a frame, and they got worried, and says, "Mikasa's with him. Screw this. Let's get out of here." And then panic sets in. They take a step back, their faces filled with fear. Without wasting a second, they turn around and run away, stumbling over their own feet as they flee the scene hurriedly. Eren stops and laughs and says, "One look at me," and they ran off. And the Armin speaks. No, it was Mikasa they saw. OWW. Armin was going to get up, but he got hurt, so he could. Eren moves to him and offer a hand to him and says, "Hey, you okay? Armin, I can get up on my own." "Oh." Then he stand on by himself, and scene shifts. I said humanity needs to venture into the outside world at some point, and then they beat me up and called me a heretic. Damn. Why does everyone look down on people just for wanting to go outside? Well, because we've had 100 years of peace by staying inside the walls. They're worried that going outside carelessly will invite them inside the walls. The royal government's policies have made having any interest in the outside world taboo. It's our lives. We can risk them if we want. Absolutely not. Forget about it. Which reminds me, I can't believe you told my parents. Huh? I never agreed to help. So, what did they say? They're less than pleased. It figures. Indeed, I think people are crazy. If they think we'll be safe inside these walls forever. Mommy, just because the walls haven't fallen for 100 years doesn't guarantee that they won't fall today. And yet, a woman stands on the rooftop holding her child in her arms. Around her clothes are spread out to dry, swaying gently in the breeze. Then the wind suddenly stops, everything stills unnaturally. The sky darkens quickly, filling with heavy clouds. A sudden flash of lightning crashes down with a deafening roar. Eren, Mikasa and Armin are thrown off their feet by the force, hitting the ground hard. All around people panic, chaos unfolds, objects shake, and the air feels heavy with dread. Eren, Mikasa and Armin struggle to steady themselves, and then they speak. WH, what was that? An explosion? Then everyone was running towards the place to check what happened and how this could be. That way. Did something fall? I'm not really sure. Eren chased the Armin and reached the place everyone gathered. Eren and Mikasa reached, and then Eren says to Armin, "Hey, Armin." And just as Eren is about to speak, he looks ahead. His eyes widen in shock, frozen by what he sees. Everyone around him turns their gaze toward the wall. And then a massive hand appears, gripping the top of the wall, its size beyond comprehension. The air turns still as silence spreads. And Armin says, "What is it? What do you see?" It can't be. At that wall is 50 meters high. It's one of them. And just as Armin is speaking, the shadow of a titan larger than anything they've ever seen falls over the district, casting everything into darkness. Then its head rises above the wall, massive and terrifying, its eyes fixed on the world below. Armin gasps and shouts, "A titan." The giant then presses its hands against the wall and begins to push. With a thunderous crash, it kicks forward, striking the wall with overwhelming force. The wall shatters in an instant. In the blink of an eye, destruction rains down. People near the base of the wall are flung into the air, debris tearing through homes and streets like paper. Chaos unfolds as the broken pieces of the wall crash down on fleeing civilians. It feels like the end has come. All around, titans begin approaching the district, their towering forms closing in from every side. And then the colossal titan starts to vanish, shrinking into steam as dust and smoke rise all around. Through the hedge, Armin's voice breaks out again, and people begin to run, their screams swallowed by the storm that has just begun. It opened a hole in the wall. Then wave after wave of titans begin pouring into the shattered district. From the smoke and falling debris, a head emerges, massive, grotesque. Its mouth hangs open, revealing enormous jagged teeth glistening in the dim light. The titan's eyes sweep across the chaos below. Its gaze locks onto the terrified humans running through the streets. And it begins to move forward, hungrily drawing to the fear, the flesh, the panic that fills the air. They're inside. The titans have gotten inside. We need to run too. Eren. Eren wasn't afraid of titans. He was thinking all about his mom, his home, and Vasa moving towards them. Armin was yelling to stop him. My house is in that direction. Mom. Mikasa ran towards Eren and Armin yells, "Mikasa." Armin lowers the hand he had reached out to stop Mikasa. His fingers tremble as the weight of what's happening sinks in. His eyes lose their light, his voice weak and broken as he speaks. It's all over. Countless titans are going to overrun the city. While Eren and Mikasa was running to reach the home, everyone was running away. A woman kneels beside the lifeless body of her husband, crushed beneath a massive slab of stone, his body soaked in blood. Tears stream down her face as she cries out in anguish, her voice lost in the chaos around her. Beside her, their child clings tightly to her side, crying helplessly, his small eyes wide as he watches the world around him fall apart in fear and confusion. It couldn't have hit our home. Just around this corner. Our house is standing there, like always, Somehow stumbling through the smoke and rubble, Eren and Mikasa reached the place they once called home. But what stands before them now is only ruin. The house is shattered, broken into pieces, crushed beneath the weight of destruction. He was yelling, "Mom! Mom!" Eren saw his mom is stuck under the debris. Eren says to Mikasa, "Mikasa, grab that end. We gotta move this pillar." As they struggle to clear the debris piece by piece, they finally begin to pull his mother out from beneath the wreckage. But just Eren's eyes, he looks up. Across the horizon, titans are advancing from every direction. Their towering bodies move with terrifying weight, each step shaking the ground beneath them. Eren stares, frozen, his heart pounding. And then he says, "Hurry, Mikasa. I know. The titans have gotten inside, haven't they? Eren, take Mikasa and run away. Hurry, I want to." So hurry and get out of there. The debris has crushed my legs. Even if I could get out, I wouldn't be able to run. You understand what that means. I'll carry you. Then, why don't you ever listen to your mother? You can at least do this one last thing, Mikasa. Then Eren says, "No. If you don't go, all three of us will." One of the titans draws closer, its heavy footsteps crushing everything in its path. Eren and Mikasa struggle desperately, trying to free their mother from the wreckage, trapped and unable to move. The titan's shadow grows larger, looming over them. And just then, a streak through the air. Hans appears flying in with the help of his gear, slicing through the wind. He lands swiftly, his eyes scanning the scene, his face tight with urgency. Without wasting a moment, he rushes toward them, closing the distance in a flash. "Hans, take the children and get out of here. Don't go underestimating me, Carla." Then he jumped from there and rushed to defeat the titan with his sword. "I'm gonna slaughter these titans and save all three of ya." "Wait, don't fight them." "Yeah, I could save those two for sure. But now, I'm finally going to repay the favor I owe." Hans charges toward the titan, blades drawing, heart pounding with courage. But the moment he faces it head on, he freezes. The titan is far larger and more terrifying than he imagined, its massive mouth open, white teeth like knives, and eyes filled with hunger. Hans' breath catches, his courage wavers. A wave of fear crashes over him, paralyzing him for a moment. Then instinct takes over. He turns back, rushing to Eren, and Mikasa grabs Eren tightly and runs in the opposite direction. "Hey, Mr. Hans, what are you doing? Thank you. Hey." His face is filled with shame and desperation as he flees from the monster he meant to fight. Mom still. Eren wasn't ever agreed to leave a mom like this. His mom last words to them, "Eren, Mikasa, you have to survive." As she watches her children being taken away, her heart breaks piece by piece. Memories flood her mind. Moments of laughter, they're tiny. Hands inhales the warmth of a family now slipping away. Tears fall endlessly from her eyes, her face trembling with pain she cannot hide. She bites her lips, trying to stay strong, but her body shakes with grief. She brings a trembling hand over her mouth, holding in the cries, so her children won't hear her suffering. And with the pain of being not able to be with kids, and as a human, the will to live, she wanted to say, "Don't go. Stop." Then a titan steps forward, towering directly over the shattered remains of their home. Its giant shadow swallows the broken structure whole. With slow, monstrous hands, it begins pulling away the debris piece by piece. And then it grabs Carla, lifts her from the ruins, trapped helpless in its grip. With one hand, it holds her by the waist, the other reaching to grasp the rest of her body. Eren watches in horror, unable to move. Mikasa too stands frozen, eyes wide with disbelief. And then, without mercy, the titan sinks its jaws into her. In a single motion, Carla is devoured. Her blood bursts into the air, painting the sky red, raining down like a storm of despair. Eren's scream rips through the chaos, a sound of pure agony that echoes across the burning district. And humanity was suddenly reminded that day of the terror of being at their mercy, of the humiliation, of being trapped inside a cage. To be continued. Shiganshina falls. Prayers, screams, and death are all that humanity is allowed. Amid this, Eren alone swears revenge in his small heart. Here the episode ends.